You are welcome to today's class. In today's class, we'll be taking a look at significance of the study. Under your significance of the study, you have both theoretical and practical significance. In the first sentence, you just have to state that this study will be anchored on both the theoretical and practical significance. Theoretically, then you now have to state those theories that will guide your study. When you are stating those theories that will guide your study, you have to mention the name of the propounder of those theories and the years those theories were propounded. So you have to note all these under your word theoretical significance in the first paragraph. Then you now relate this study to your work. Then the practical significance, that one is dealing with those that will benefit from your study. Now, we can now have this. You can see from the screen that significance of the study is divided into two. We have the theoretical significance and the practical significance. Under your theoretical significance, you have to state the names of the person that propounded the theory. For instance, maybe, let me say, Abraham Maslow hierarchy of need. When you are saying Abraham Maslow hierarchy of need, you have to state the year along with it. Or constructivist theory by so 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 and so so. You have to state the name of the person and the year with it. For instance, you have to, for instance, Moreno and Maya, their theory of what? Media. Then you have to state the year Moreno and Maya actually postulated that theory, maybe 2005. The next thing is state the year of the theory, state the year the theory was propounded. Ensure you relate the theory to your study. Now you have to relate the story to your theory in that same first paragraph. Just try to relate those theories that are guiding your work to your theory. Don't use even number aside two. Yes, if you are using three theories or four theories, irrespective of the numbers of theories that you are using or you want to use, you can use one, you can use two, you can use three, then you can use five, seven. You don't use like four, six. It's better you use something like one, two, three, or five theories to guide your work. Avoid quoting various authors. No need of citing numerous authors, different authors. No, let's actually hear what the propounder of the theories say about the theory and relate it down to your own study. That is what you just have to do under this your theoretical significance. Just in a paragraph is okay. Then the next paragraph, you can now move to your practical significance, where you now state, mention all your beneficiaries. You now have to mention all your beneficiaries. Who are those that will benefit from your study? Are teachers going to benefit? Is it nurses? Is it principals? The society, Ministry of Education, and so many others. You just have to mention all those that will benefit from your study. After mentioning these people that will benefit your study, what next do you do? State how and what they will benefit from your study. What will they benefit from your study? How will they benefit these things? Then you have to explain what they stand to benefit from your study. Is it that your study will expose them to the use of technology in teaching economics students? Let us know what it will be. Is it that your study will reduce the crime rate in the society? Let us know what they will benefit from your study and how they will benefit it from your study. Next thing is state how they will get to know about your study. State how they will get to know about your study. How will they get to know about your study? Is it through publication? Is it by organizing seminars? Is it by producing books, extracting a textbook from your work? Let us know how these people will get to know about your study. For instance, you are using secondary school teachers. After the end of the study, will you go back to your study area to conduct like a seminar for the teacher so that they will now be aware of your study? You have to state it clearly how they will get to know. Like future researchers, how will future researchers get to know about your study? It may be simply after the study, you can extract a paper out of it, publish it in a reputable journal, and through that, future researcher will get to know about your study. So you have to know, for instance, how will Ministry of Education get to know about your study? You can say that Ministry of Education will get to know about my study through a copy of the completed work that I will be donating to the Ministry of Education. Now, after you complete that, you can donate a copy to them. Through this Ministry of Education, we get to know about your study. We want to know. Avoid abbreviations. Please don't say Ministry of Education. Just say MIN, mean of education, ED. No, write it in full. These are the things that you have to avoid. Now, for undergraduate student, kindly know that theoretical significance is not compulsory in your own project. So it's possible for you to just neglect the theoretical significance and focus only on your practical significance. But for masters, PhD and PhD students, theoretical significance is compulsory while practical significance is also compulsory. Depending on the department, some departments prefer you to discuss practical significance before theoretical significance, but most departments will prefer you to discuss theoretical first before the practical significance. Now, we now move to scope of the study. Under your scope of the study, what are the things you will discuss under your scope of the study? Under your scope of the study, one of the things you have to discuss is the geographical scope, the content scope, and the population scope. As you know, that scope of the study is talking about what else you want to limit your study to. The geographical scope, that is the geographical environment you want to limit your study to. Since you cannot cover everywhere, then there must be a particular area you want to cover. That is your geographical scope. You have to explain it under your scope of the study. For instance, the area, let us know about the area you want to limit your study to, the landmass of the area, neighboring communities to that your study area. Let us know the occupation of the people. You can state it if you want, the resources in the area, you are free, the religion of the people, and so many other things that will let us to know about that your study area. Then you now can move to your content scope. In your content scope, just base it on your instrument. Under your content scope, you just have to base it on your instrument or those topics you intend to cover in your studies. Now, if your instrument is in three cluster base, cluster A, challenges facing so, cluster B maybe solution to, cluster C effect of so, then your content scope will now be those three headings: the challenges and solutions to. Those are the things that will now be your content scope, that the study will be limited to and so. If it is in an experimental study whereby you are conducting a test for the student, since you cannot use all the topics from SS1 to SS3, then what will you now do? You select some topics you want to use. For instance, you are taking economics, you want to conduct a test on economics, you now select a concept of demand, concept of supply, and utility, and marginal utility. Now, this marginal utility, these three that you have selected will now be your what? Your content scope. The study will be limited to concept of demand, concept of supply, and utility theory, which you now have marginal utility under it. Then you now move to your population scope. In your population scope, who are your respondents? Let us know who your respondents are. We want to know who your respondents are. That is your population scope. For instance, in an experimental work where you say you are using secondary school students, then these secondary school students are your what? Respondent. They are your population. You have to say that, oh, secondary school SS2 students, be specific. Senior secondary school 2 students will be used. This study will be limited to senior secondary school 2 students. Justify the reason why you are limiting the study to this junior secondary school 2 students. Probably because they are not examination class, or the content scope is covering SS2 curriculum. So this is a good reason why you are now making use of the SS2 student. So anybody you are using as your respondent, those your respondent, you must justify the reason why you are using them as your respondent. Thank you. In this way, I've explained to you how you can write your significance of the study and scope of the study. Thank you. In the next class, I'll be putting you through how to write your purpose of the study, research questions, and hypothesis.